live stream is on.
So, greetings to all of us who are present here. So, there are five of us presently on this very call. So, we'll just go straight to the point to our lesson today. So, this very class is being recorded, and we would all be able to go to the recordings on YouTube to be able to watch it. So for those of us who are not present with us, all the recordings we have done since lesson one have been recorded, and this very one is also included. And we only have one more lesson to go for this very year's bootcamp in the Tyap language. So I'll share my screen right away so that we can see the lessons we have. We can see the lesson we have today uh, on the call. Um, so, uh, all right. So the screen is being shared currently. So let me just take a screenshot and. Um, mhm. So this is our homepage for the lesson today. If you can see my screen, this is our homepage. And for those of us who have not yet registered for this very session, please go to register right here. You see the written register and for events, and then you register your name. And then when you are done with that, you can come down and also add your name in the calendar, or add the calendar to your um, Google Calendar by going to that next date. We only have one day to go for this very year's bootcamp, and then you add it to your calendar. So once you are done with that, you can be able to watch all our recordings right here, and all the lessons are also present right here. So those people who are consistent with us would stand a chance to be present in person in Kaduna for the in-person bootcamp. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be very interesting. So please be ready to attend and also be active so that you can be able to stand a chance to attend the in-person bootcamp with us. So welcome to the lesson 5 for a guide to learn and to read and write Tyap. And today's lesson we're going to continue with grammar where we stopped on our last encounter. So we are going to proceed with verbs. In Tyap, we render the word verb as a shaitam. A shaitam, that's something that tells about work. And verb, simply put, is an action word. And we have examples of verbs right here on this very table. If you can see the table very well, we have the word buy, which means to come, swan to sit, lidiak to speak. We have up to this very point, tiong to run, lack to refuse, and so on and so forth. So you take note that when verbs are made into nouns, that is, I don't know if it's correct, but when they become gerunds, they can also require definite articles in Tyap. That's the reason why we can say by who in Tyap, which is the coming or the come. In English may not make so much sense, but in Tyap it actually makes sense as a noun. And then we also have swat who, that is the sitting or the stay. And then we have my who, which is the laughter, is a noun actually. And then we have Songji, which is the dance. And then Chet who, which is the journey or the voyage, and then we have Nyeji, which is the happening or the doing, and we have them as far as or as much as we have uh, verbs in Tiap that can be able to be used as nouns. We can also have definite articles also accompanying them. So we are done with verbs for now. The next part of speech we have is adverb. Adverb is rendered as bjek, shentum. Bjek shentum, that's like a deputy or assistant of a verb. And adverbs, simply put, are modifiers or qualifiers of verbs or adjectives. And we have today examples in Tiap, which include shonshon. Shonshon can also be mashonshon, which is gently. And then we have kakao. Kakao can also be makakao, which is rushingly. And then we have kokwak. Kokwak can also be makokwak. So in Tiap, most times to change an adjective into an adverb, this m is added to make it an adverb. But then sometimes we can have a word that would mean an adverb even without the m. For example, this gagak, which is hastily, or maybe nyonyo is still adverb even without the ma, and even angang is still an adverb even without the ma angang. We rarely have anything like that, but angang is just angang. And then we also have umfan, which is quickly, and then we have unchiren, which is always. Then sometimes for emphasis sake, we usually double the first part or maybe the last part of the adverb in Tiap to have, instead of shon shon, you have shon shon and shon. That is in a gentle manner. You are just describing the manner in which the action takes place. And then makakawako or akako or kakawako. And then we have gagagagag and then yon yon. Or we can even have morning, that's morning, like morning. That's a totonoton. That's early in the morning. You are making an emphasis on the toton, or a totonoton. That's very early in the morning. And so we have this very common in the Tiap language. And then the Tiap word for how much and how many would depend on the definite article of the noun in question. Previously, we have learned that when we are rendering numbers 1 to 5, we have about 3 ways of rendering them, especially in this very dialect that we're dealing with. That's this Mabalulu dialect. But then we only don't have it in terms of 1 to 5, in terms of counting. We also have it in like the word for another, which is a yang or yang, depending on the definite article. And then this word, how much or how many, is another instance where we have to know what definite article the noun you are describing is, for you to be able, or you are quantifying its degree, to be able to know which version of how much or how many you are to use. So if you are dealing with a word like akakwan, which is falling under the na definite article, or maybe it's singular form. Of course, singular form, you won't have to ask how many, but if there are many, mainly plurals, you use the word among instead. How many or how much? Akakwan na yeramanga amangnya. That's how many are the trees, or literally the trees, how many are they? And then if the word you are to ask about is belonging to the who definite article of nouns, you use the word man instead of among. You just remove the and then you have man. And then you have Liliot who yen manhua. How many are the names? Or literally the names are how many? And then if that very word you are trying to describe or you are trying to quantify belongs to the G definite article group, you use the word nyang instead of mang or amang. And we have John Yuanja, that's how many goats are they? Literally goats. how many are there or are they. So we just take note of the differences and what part of speech or what definite article group the noun belongs to be able to render this very expression correctly in Tyap. And then the next one we have is adjective. Adjective is rendered as a shayli because it describes the looks of a particular thing. And adjectives, in simple, put simply, are words that further describe nouns. And then in Tyap, we have like two types of adjectives. We have those adjectives we call the dependent adjectives, and then we have independent adjectives. You may not find this in English because English doesn't have anything like this. So this is very unique to this very language. So dependent adjectives are those kind of adjectives that you have to add to to them, to the prefix. And then usually these very adjectives are followed by nouns, and we have examples of this kind of adjectives. For example, the word asai is white. My keyboard is messing up. Okay, so white is asai, but then we can also have sai instead of asai. But whenever you have asai, you usually have a noun following it, asai jijak, that's like white sand. And then we have the word dunjung. By the time you add an prefix to dunjung, it becomes an independent adjective. I mean, a dependent adjective. And then you have to add a noun after it. So you have a dunjung John. And then that's a black goat. And then we have oshon, okwan. That is a red tree. And then right here, we know that for a word like okwan, for example, the definite article for okwan would be okwan ka. It would be a car word. But then when we are using the adjective oshon, that is red, the definite article of the adjective will be the one that we're going to use instead of the definite article of the noun. So we are going to have a shong, a kon wu, instead of us having a shong, a konka. So it happens to all of them like that, from asai jijagu to adintung john to a shong, a kon, and so on and so forth. So that's just the pattern of the language. You may see this very, very repetitively as you read the Tyap language. And then we'll have the independent adjectives. When the Tyap adjective doesn't have the prefix, like we had a sai in the dependent adjective group, but here we're having sai, and then we're having it as bright or white, and then we have dunjung as black, and then we have shong, which is red, we have jojo, which is watery. Or something unique about this very group of adjectives is that they usually don't have definite articles. These ones, they have definite articles, asai, a shom, a dunjung, a shom, a dunjung, and so on and so forth. But these ones, usually, if they don't act as nouns, if they are acting as adjectives, then they don't really need definite articles, except they are acting as nouns. And then we have determiners. The determiners are kind of uh, the word another or some or someone or other. They are all the same word in Tiao. And then, just as I earlier mentioned, just like how many or how much in Tiao, there are three ways of saying them depending on what definite article the noun you are describing or you are quantifying belongs to. The same thing for the word another. So we have about three of them like this. The word another, the word how much or how many, and then numbers 1 to 5. They all depend on the definite article of that very noun. So we don't know if outside of these very three, we have any other word that also has three forms, that you have to know the noun first before you know which form you are to use. But knowing which form to use depends on definite article as mentioned. So we have also three forms of another. The very first one is a yang. So if the definite article of the noun you are describing is a car word, or is a wu, or is a na, or is a ba, they use the word yang. And then if it is a G word, you use the word yang. And then if it is a who word, you use the word yang, as we see right here. We have an example for the a yang word. Nchat, not chat, okone yang. Maybe I will find another tree. So because okon is a cow word, so we are using the word a yang. And then for the yang word, we have ndibwa yang. Sorry for the intonation, but for the native speakers, you should be able to understand the right intonation. So ndibwa yang. I saw or I see another hand, because bwak belongs to the who nouns. That's the reason why we're having yang instead of yang. And then we have the G nouns. We're using the word yang here. We're changing the G to J right here. And then fa zonjiang, that is slaughter another goat. Because the word zon belongs to the G words, that's the reason why we're having yang. And then the numbers 1 to 5 exist in three forms, as earlier mentioned. Again, depending on the definite article of the word the number is referring to. So if you have a word or a noun in mind that belongs to the ka, wu, naba definite article groups, you use the words or you use the number counting system, a new, a fire, a tat, an eye, and a phone. For example, we have a quan. That's the reason why we're having a new instead of new or jung. So in the quan, a nyungkya, it is one tree that I see or I saw. Ndi yako na nyungkya. So you can see our last lesson is playing right here, is playing a part right here. This kia here means it is. So upon and kia, because it's upon ka, we're having kia here. If it is upon who, then we are going to have hua. So upon a nyung. And then we have the next one, the who words. We usually count nyung, fern, tat, nai, and fun. And then we also have an example. The example says, Tibuak Yunhua, put one hand, or it is one hand that you put or you place. Maybe the person is trying to make a thumbprint or something. Then you are telling the person it's not two hands, you're making just one hand. And that is an example for a singular noun. What is hand, and that's singular. And then for plural nouns from 2 to 5, we usually add the n prefix, even though now. So I think we need to correct this one right here. There's an error right here, but let's keep to this very one here. We add the prefix, the n prefix, to accompany plural forms of the who words. For example, in kyang, the singular form is kyang, and then the plural form is in kyang. So whenever we have an before the kyang, or before the word that is belonging to the who, for example, mbwak. Bwak is singular, it belongs to the who group, and if you have an or an then this very one becomes umfon, mfeang, mtat, nai, umfon. That's 2 to 5 now. So there are 5 things in Kyangfonia. So the reason for this very lesson is for you to understand the patterns. Just have an idea about where they are going whenever you are reading the Tyap language, just to open your eyes to it. And then when you have the G words, you usually have the counting going as those Jung, Soyang, Tat, Nyai, and then Swan. For example, Sak Nung John Suyang, that's keep 2 goats for me. because John is belonging to the G definite article, that's why we're having Swang instead of Fang or a Fang. And then when we have number 6 to infinity, or not really infinity, let's just say 6 to 9, we only have one form, and 6 will be ata, and then an atat, and then an nine, okubunyung, shwak, and so on and so forth. So the same thing happens when we are counting. Okay, so we have when we have plural forms uh, for any noun that belong to any of the three groups, whether it is who, jika, naba, any of them, we only have this atar for 6. And then the same thing, we only have an atat for 7, and then we only have one from nine for 8, and then we only have one from akubunyum for 9, and then we only have swak for 10. So if we're counting from 1000, I mean from 600 to 1000, for example, or from 6000 to 10,000, from 600 to 900, from 6,000 to 9,000, we also follow the same rule. It's still the same form for 6 uh, to 9. And then we also have what we call the diminutives. These ones, they make the word look smaller than they actually are. So we have two words for this very diminutive group. We have a bar, and then we have a b. The reason for them being a bar and a b, we don't really know, but we just know that there are some words, some few words that carry a b, meanwhile the majority carry a bar for diminutives. So examples of words that have the a bar diminutive are a bangon, for example, the word ngwan, which is child. By the time you add a bar to it, then it becomes little child, a bar ngwan. But we usually have it as one word instead of two words. And then we have a bar and a li. Putting them together, it becomes a bar li. And then we have a bar and a vo. Putting them together, we have a bar vo. That's little place, little house, little child. Then this word that carry a b, they include the word nam. For example, a binam, which is little meat, and then a little paste, or maybe little fufu, or little, and then we have a bitong, little honey, and so on and so forth. And then their definite article is usually ka. Hence, we usually have a bangwan ka. That's the little child. And then for the plural form, we usually have na as the plural for that very diminutive. So we are going to have a bamana for the little children. Then we have the prepositions, which we render as a shetian in Tyap, because it kind of describes the position of a particular thing, or the spot of a particular thing. Now, these very prepositions, they describe the relative positions of things or events. For example, we have atafa, that's underneath. We have tazwa, we have twadwa, we have debiam, we have mami, we have atausa, we have pongpan, and then we have bang, we have makawatia or akawatia, makawatia rather, in the middle of, and so on and so forth. There are so many. So these words, they actually describe the positions of nouns, where they are located. And then for plurals in Tyap, in many cases in the English language, the S is usually just added to the noun form, even though it's not every time that we have S, that addition of S that will create a plural form. For example, if you have the word goose, that's a type of dog now. The plural form will not be gooses, it will be geese instead. And if you have sheep, that's sheep. Sheep doesn't even have a plural form. We only have one form for singular and plural. The same thing for stuff. stuff. There's only one singular and plural. There's no stuffs in English language. So in Tyap, the situation is also quite different. Just like the English language, there are about 8 ways of pluralization in Tyap language. So the first one is the addition of a ya to the noun root. That's the root of it. In every word, we have what we call the noun class and then we have the root itself. So this very word tear, to put, is the root word, while is just a noun class, or maybe something we can describe as a prefix added to tear to make the word a tear. The same thing with quan. Quan is the root of this very word, and then we have the noun class, which is adding it to the root, we have a quan. But when we are pluralizing in tear, we usually remove the root word, I mean the noun class, and then we have a ya joining the root. So that's why you see this one is highlighted. The tier is highlighted, and then this one to be removed is not highlighted. So we have a ya tier to mean fathers. And then we also have the second way of pluralization. And mind you, we usually use this aya to pluralize singular words that belong to the WU, WU definite article group. The WU definite article group always. So aya is equal to the WU definite article group. And then we use a k for words that belong to the ka definite article groups. For example, a kwanka, maybe a tinker. No, not a tinker. A kwanka. There are many. Just think about them. You are going to find them there. So we have a ka, and then again we remove the noun class here, and then we leave the root, and then we add the root to this prefix, and then we have a kakwan. And then we also have the third way of pluralization in Tyap language. Here, we usually deal with the who words, the singular words that belong to the who definite article group. They are the ones that this N and M prefix are used for. So if the first letter of the word you want to pluralize belongs to the plosive groups, the plosives are B, B sound, pa sound, and then pa sound. There are about 4 in Tyap. So, and then also itself, M itself, and then N itself. So if the word is going to start with an N, then you can pluralize with N itself. And then if the word starts with M itself, like for example, man, it can be man also. And then we have wak. This is a plosive sound, so we are not expected to use a letter N prefix right here. Otherwise it would not follow the linguistic rule, it won't follow the orthography. But if the word is not a plosive, for example, a letter like K, we are going to have N instead of M. So this rule is what is obtainable in any language that is well written all over the world. And then we also have a fourth way of pluralization pluralizing in Tyap. That is the addition of an prefix to a singular noun. For example, we have fufo. To pluralize it, we have to add an and it becomes a fufo. Even though fufo belongs to the who definite article group, so somebody will be thinking maybe we can say fufo. Well, sometimes, or for a word like for example, which is neck or mind, it is true you can add an n to make it plural. That's for, to make it necks or minds. But for word fufo, we don't know why it is like this, but we just realize that language is just like that, so we just follow it like that. And then we also can pluralize by subtracting from the singular noun. For example, the word fun, which is fish. To make it plural, just delete the noun class, and then it becomes fun. This is the plural form of fun. So it's kind of tricky. Sometimes you add an sometimes you delete the you just have to know what word you are dealing with. And then you also have also have the sixth way of pluralization in Tyap language by doubling the root word of that very word. For example, we have tian. Tian is just itself, is not having a noun class, so it's just the root. So we double the t noun. Well, I don't know. You double the t and then the tian, and then you have titian. And then we also have another word, gag we we have to double the first part becomes agagak. Well, don't know how to class that, but we just call it doubling the first part. Maybe later studies we can be able to break this part into maybe part A and part B to have another description. And then number 7, we can pluralize in Tyap by changing of tone, and this changing of tone is mainly affecting those words belonging to the G definite article group, like John G, John G, and so on and so forth, G. And then this very one probably affects the G definite article group words also, just like number 7. That's why we have Tianji and then Titianji. Um, and then the eighth way of pluralizing in Tiap is by totally changing the word entirely. So we have Ngwan as singular, and then we have Man as plural. They are many. Now consider the following examples and give the plural forms. Now I will pause right here and then uh, try to get somebody from amongst us to pronounce those words. But pardon me, let me just take a screenshot of this very stuff, and then we proceed. So can someone volunteer to 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 pronounce these words for us and then give us their plural forms in Tiap? Anyone? Please
Yeah.
unmute and
Can I try?
go on.
Okay. So we have a Tyap, which is a Tyapba, the plural form. A Tyap is singular, and a Tyapba is the plural. Then we have a Bzik, which is the singular. If you want to add a definite article, a Bziku.
So please,
Then,
also give us the definite article of the singular forms.
okay. So for the a Tyap is that is one person. A Tyapwu. A Tyapwu. That is the man. Then the plural form is a chokba, the man. Then this is the abzuk, which is the woman. Then abzuku, the woman. Abzuk is just woman. But if you say abzuku, is the woman. And if the plural form is a nyukba. So a nyuk is woman, a nyukba, the woman. Then we have ngwan, which is child. Ngwanka, the child. Manna. We have man, uh, which is the children. Then we have Ngwanseam, which is which is boy. Ngwanseamka, the boy. And we have, okay, the plural for Ngwanseam, we have um, Manasam.
Then,
You can rather
Zam,
say Manasam or yes, Manasamna,
Zam,
Manasam or Manasamna. Then
Zam, Zam.
okay, Zam. Yeah, we have Zam and Zamji. So which is we have another Ngwaneam, which is the girl. Ngwaneamka. Ngwaneamka, the girl. So the plural is a kaneam. That is girls. Kaneam na, the girls. Then we have Ogwang, king or chief. Ogwangu, the chief or the king. Then the plural Ogwam, that is chiefs or kings. Ogwamba. Then we have Adin, the land. It can also mean the country or the region. Then Binka, the land. Uh, the plural, Bibin, lands. Bibinku is land. Then we have Okwan, tree. Okwanka, the tree. the plural, akakwan, trees, akakwan na, the trees. And we have Tyap, food, Tyap the food. I think, okay, we have the plural, Nkaya, which is foods, Nkaya na, the food. Then we have Otubishi, which is human, Otubishiwu, the human. Then the plural, Anyabishi, humans, Anyabishiba, the humans. We have Afa, stomach, Afaka, the stomach. Then the plural, Fufa, stomachs,
So I think this one is
Fufahu,
supposed to be belly, not stomach.
sir?
This is supposed to be belly instead of stomach.
Okay. Then we have Fufahu. I think the sound is not much because of my laptop here. Let me use my phone. Then we have Fufahu, which is the plural of the Fa. Then we have a fun fish, a fun car, the fish. Then the plural, fun fishes, fun who, the fishes. Then we have a fang, a fang stone, a fang car, the stone. Then the plural, mpang, mpang, which is stones, mpang na, is stones. And we also have kikyo, leaf. Kikyo who, the leaf. Let me use this one. Sorry. So, kikyo who, the the screen is not showing. All right. Kikyo who, the leaves. Then a kikyo leaves. A kikyo ba, the leaves. Vac road. Vac who, the road. Vac road. Vac na, the road. Then we have agamun, mosquito. Agamun ka, mosquitoes. I mean the mosquito. Then agamun, the tune will go up. Agamun, which is mosquitoes. Agamun na, the mosquitoes. We have kam, the calabash. I mean calabash. Kamji, the calabash. Then the plural, kam calabash. Is it calabashes? I don't know the plural. Then kamji mean the calabash. Then we have option head, option ka, the head. The plural, picture heads, picture who, the heads. Then we have chuk, that is tool or chair. Then chukji, the stools. The plural, chuk, the stools. Sorry, stools. Chukji, the stools or chairs. Then we have ogwak, that is a giant. Ogwakwu, then the giant. Plural, ayagwak, giants. Ayagwak ba, the giants.
Okay, sorry, Gwaka. So the word for giant won't be a guac. That would be like a professional or expert. Can you?
What is it?
So can everyone else hear me very well?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So the word work or work won't be giant.
Yes.
It will be professional or expert.
Okay,
So
yeah, that's professional too. Then we have Nguyen, chicken. Nguyen the chicken. Then the plural for Nguyen, I think Nguyen doesn't have plural. Nguyen is Nguyen, except you differentiate it with numbers like Nguyen Jung or Nguyen Suyangji. That is the plural. You differentiate the plural during the, I mean, adding by adding the numbers. Then we have zone, which is goat, zone G, the goat, zone goats, zone G, the goat. Then we have a back, cock, a back, who, the cock, a yeah back, cocks, a yeah back, the cocks. Then we have a two-tiered teacher, a two-tiered who, the teacher, a near-tiered teachers, a near-tiered bar, teachers, the teachers, sorry. Then we have a new mouth, a new car, the mouth, nunu, nunu, mouse, nunu, who, the mouth. Then we have,
sorry, let me mute. I think there's a reverb of are you using two mics here, Gwaka?
yes, because I'm using my computer and, okay, let me look let me look out, I mean. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
I'm
you
using
can
my
go.
phone now. Can you hear me?
Go on, go on.
All right. So we have a man, bird, a man car, the bird, a command birds, a commander, the birds, kunyat, earthworm, kunyat who, earthworm, I mean the earthworm. Then the plural, nkunyat, earthworms, nkunyat na, the earthworms.
Thank you very much, Gwaka. Well and done. So, what actually are the basis, or what actually is the basis for generating the forms in the Tyap language? Um, well, for this very one, part of the basis for generating the plurals for different articles in Tyap are what was explained in these very ones from number 1 to number 8. It depends on the definite article of that very word. Sometimes it depends on the tonation of that very word. For example, a tiok is a human, and then it also depends on whether it's a human being and what kind of human being, what age of human being. Is it a grown-up person or is it a child? If it's a child, well, we can use a car, but if it's a grown-up person, then usually is a woo word. So a woo word probably would carry a woo, I mean a bar definite article. So it either going to be a yeah or just going to have an intonation, but the plural will be bar carrying the bar definite article. And then well, it also depends on what letter the word is starting with. We have letter K. Usually the words letter K, under letter K, fall under the who definite article group. And then the same thing for the V words. The words that begin with letter V, they also fall under the who definite article words. The words that have a definite article, I mean they have a prefix like this one, they are either belonging to the ka or belonging to the wu. They are always belonging to one of the two. But sometimes where we have a deviation, but usually they fall under one of the two. So there are many factors that actually determines what definite article a particular word belongs to, and if it has a particular definite article, what the plural would be. For example, these ones that have the G definite article, they are always having the same word but change in intonation for plurals. Okay, or most times, so because the word like tian now you can't say tian and then tian, I don't know, but it's usually tian singular and then titian for plural. And then also have affixation of words. Now for our verbs, we usually have an n and prefix that are added to them depending on whether they are starting with words that fall under the plosive words or words that fall under any other consonant words. So for those who are non-plosive, like letter S is non-plosive, we usually add letter N. So we have swan, and then we have swan, we have fat, and then we have fat, and then we have tak, and then we have tak, so, we have nat, and then we have nat, and so on and so forth. Almost all the verbs in Tyap, they appear like this, and um, and then for example, considering the following sentences, I'll need somebody else to read these very words and then give us the English meanings. Any other person who can volunteer? This is 8 o'clock, and we are like um halfway, but if we can get somebody that can do it quickly for us, then we can be able to go home before 8:30, hopefully. Anyone to volunteer? Can anyone volunteer to to read the sentences for us? There are about 7 of them. You read it and then you give us the English meanings to them. So I think there are about one, two, three, about not less than 8 of us in the group. So can someone, so Sankwe, please unmute and then read it and give us the English version of it. Over to you, Sankwe. Please unmute and read.
Okay. Well, I cannot see the screen very well, Sha.
Okay, can you see it better now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, please go on.
Number one. Okay, the first one said Nga Chukji Answan.
Okay, what does it mean?
Take the seat and sit. Take the
Okay.
chair and sit.
Okay, and sit on it.
Mm.
But what if we don't put this before this swan? Nga chuji a swan. What does it mean?
Take the seat. Take the chair and sit.
Okay, so take the chair and sit. But if you now have an before the swan, what would it now mean? What would be the difference?
You can sit on it.
Okay, so on it now, that's you have to sit on it, but just nga chuji a swan. That would just be take the seat and sit. Maybe you can just take the seat and then go and sit on one stone like that, holding the chair. But if you add an to the swan now, it means that you have to sit on top of that very seat now, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the second one, please read it for us.
Kiak Ebaika a Mfa Yuanji.
Okay, what does it mean?
Take the knife and slaughter the fowl.
Okay, so if you don't have an prefix before the fad, what would it mean now?
take the knife and
Okay, and slaughter what?
slaughter the chicken.
So in other words, maybe if you have Jack Obaika Afad Nyanji, probably that could mean just take the knife and slaughter the chicken. Maybe somebody's giving you a knife, take the knife and then, well, maybe you want to use your long nails to slaughter the chicken. So
Mm,
it doesn't matter whether it is with the knife or not. But if you have the end added to the fat, that means you have to use that same knife to slaughter the
mm,
chicken, isn't it?
yes.
Okay. So then the next words, the next sentence.
Okay. He said, "By mang ebibiaiwu antak nkwanna."
Okay, what does that mean?
So I don't know the English word for BBIO.
Baby, it's just a
Bring, okay, let me say the tray.
something like that. It's a wood tray.
Okay, okay. So bring the wood tray and uh, gather the put the sticks on it.
You can
Okay, and arrange the sticks
arrange
on
the
it.
firewood.
Firewood on it. Yes.
Okay, so if we don't have the with the tack, that would just be by manga people attack unkwana. That would just be like, just bring the wood tray and then you just arrange the, maybe you are just bringing it and delivering it, and then you just go and arrange the wood tray on the ground, maybe. And then, but when you have the end prefix, it will not mean that you should bring the wood tray and then use that same wood tray to arrange the firewood on top of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, then the next sentence.
Pour esekwot na a nsomba.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Fetch the water and bath them.
Okay, so you are fetching the water and using that same water to bathe them, and that bar
Yeah.
now, that would actually mean maybe, let's say, there are definite articles that belong to, or there are noun words that belong to the bar definite article, maybe a bar instead of man. If
Mm,
it is children now, it would then be
mm,
anshona. And then what of the next
mm.
sentence?
Nkwenkia mato nsi na amazaki.
Okay, what does that mean?
I carried a car and went to Mazaki
With it, isn't it?
with it. Yeah.
Okay, so the next sentence.
Ekiakamji esi my yaku.
Okay, so he took the calabash and used the calabash to measure the grains, isn't it? Okay,
Yes.
then the last one says what?
Inyatai ja nsi mbai.
Okay, so what does that mean in English?
I used the horse to come.
Okay, so it was a horse that you climbed and
Yeah.
then came, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have already seen that an N and M. Thank you very much, Sankwa. So we have already seen that the N and M prefixes may also be used in producing plural forms of nouns. So the N and M prefix, they have many uses in Tyap. For example, Kyang, you add an N prefix, it becomes Nkyang. And then we have Buak, you have an you add an M to Buak, it becomes Mbuak. That's singular plural. And then in Tyap, we have the negation, Ba. even though in other dialects of in other variants of the language they use dak. For example, especially those that are belonging to the southern part of the Tiapic languages. For example, Gorok, Takat, Tuku, and Fantram, they use dak, not ba. But those in the northern portion of the Tiapic language, like Tiap, Mabelodachi, and then we have Sholyo, then Chacharak, and then also Ju, they all use ba, which is a kind of a Hausa word imported into the language. So probably in the near future, we'll have to do away with this bar and then recover the other one since it's not gone yet. We can use bar instead dark instead of bar, but for now we'll just continue with this for now. So in the negation of Tiap, we usually have an H, a H following the bar, not just BA but BAH to separate it from the bar and a bar, a shomba, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it is commonly this very bar now in Tiap is usually occurring at the very end of sentences, not always, but maybe at the end of every clause or something. So we have examples such as your Bible don't come, and then we have your womba Bible don't let them to come. Okay, and then we have some words that we use to ask questions. They are very short words sometimes, and then they are normal words sometimes. But then we have about 8 of them. We have for example, we have Nifaga, have you heard? And then we have just means you are requesting that somebody should repeat what they just said. And then you have Zanjonja, which goat is it? And then we have Enyan, who, for example, Enyawaja, who is there? And then we have Yuhwa, that's just what. So Yuhwa, what is that? And then we have among. We have 3 ways of saying this among. We have among, we have mang, and you have nyang. We have it depends on what definite article. If it is a G definite article, we use nyang. If it is a who definite article, we use mang, and if it is any other of the 4, we use among. So how many are they? And yet amambia, that's how many people. And then we have nini, it's just how. Nini ambai, how did you come? So can you think about any other ways of asking questions in Tiap? This is a question to us now. Can you think about any other one apart from these very 8 that we have? We have them, we have Anyan, we have Yuhua, we have about 7 of them actually. We have Yuhua, and then we have Amang / Nyang, and then we have Nini. So can you think about any other one that is not mentioned right here? Anyone? Dang. Okay, Anya Dang.
Yes, Mendangja.
Okay, Mutangja. Okay, I think I'm not hearing very well, but I think he's referring to Dang, which is which. So this very letter in Tiap, letter Z, is usually rendered either as Z or as DZ. So oftentimes people just say, for example, this very word like this. So this would have been the right way of spelling it. This would be the right way of spelling it, but somehow, well, the people who prepared the orthography, they just rendered it as Z instead of Dang. So because it is a DZ, D and Z, so some people pronounce it as Zang and some people pronounce it as Dang. So they take the D and throw away the Z, and sometimes take the Z and throw away the D. Well, any way that anyone calls it is still the same thing, Zang or Dang, still the same thing. Sometimes some people say so the word has disappeared from my head, but maybe you can continue even if it doesn't come. So I think that Mudangja or that very one would still mean which. So we have also tenses in Tiap language, and just as English, we also have the words or the short auxiliary words that we use for present, past, and future and habitual tenses in Tyap language. And here are just a few examples of those very words. The first one says bonat, baeji. Bonat, baeji. That's bonat. Come here. It's just a command or is an instruction. And then the second one says bonat kubaeji. That is bonat had come here, or just simply bonat came here. So this ku, as we are led to know, where we use it for anything that happened in the recent past, or maybe you know definite day that the person came. So you use ku for the past tense. And then bonat babaeji. Bonat came here. Probably he came here a while ago, but it happens maybe within the day, today. Bonat babaeji, maybe often. And then bonat na baeji, that bonat will come, but you are not sure when he will come. Maybe it can be